because here everybody's trying to make each other happy and successful.
If you start early enough, then you're going to maximize your value, where you don't need the vendors that you have today because they're all sitting in that room with us. Hello, Hugo Jimenez and Jimmy Ralph here with Board of Advisors. Welcome to the inaugural Hugo and the Boss podcast. Jimmy, tell us a little bit what's going on at Board of Advisors.
Oh, wow. It's a lot of fun here. We're at a very monumental point, and that's why we've got a large crowd out here today of a lot of folks that have benefited from BA. But we're at the Ritz-Carlton in Las Colinas for our last quarterly show this year. And we've got an excellent turnout. It's a lot of fun because it's also our 10th anniversary. So we've been doing this for 10 years now, and it's been quite a ride. And when you think back to the early days of 10 or 12 of us around a room 10 years ago, and now there's 10 or 15 times that size going on down here. So we're having a lot of fun, and glad you're here, and glad we get to catch up a little bit. So
that's right. We may live not too far away, but we're both traveling men on the road and everything else. So tell us a little bit about the beginning. Just what was it like?
I don't think any of us can exactly remember what that first meeting was like, and I'm not even sure. And in Mike Calhoun fashion, Mike's our founder, and he invented this, this particular category and the way that he's evolved it over the years. And so it was really 12 professionals that he knew in the Tampa Bay market. And they came, we got together for a one day, and I think we had lunch together and had a 4 or 5 hour session where we just sort of went around the room and talked to one another and learned about each other. And it turned it's one of those things of, really weird at the first hour probably, but as the day went along, I think we all ended up deciding to have dinner that night and keep the conversations going. So that's really what I remember about the very beginning, and I think others would collaborate. We still got a lot of members here that were part of that first 12, and I think they'd probably tell you the same thing.
That is fantastic, and congratulations for sticking it out and enjoying all the enjoyable times. I've been here for about 3 years, and I can say that it's been a fantastic 3 years and spending time with all of you.
Yeah, I got to see it through both lenses, so I was able to be a member and watch the membership grow and make some unbelievable connections, which I want to ask you about your connections in the 3 years, and I tell you a little bit about mine in the last 10. But then I had the pleasure this year of becoming Mike's partner and becoming the CEO of the company, along with Kevin Killeran and Chris DePasquale, our COO and CFO respectively. And those guys have worked with me for several decades. So it was just a really natural, obvious move after I sold my big company, which wasn't nearly as much fun to run as this one, because here everybody's trying to make each other happy and successful, and frankly, in a big business, some big businesses that I've been in, it's been pretty much the opposite of that. So we're really enjoying that, and I've gotten to, like I say, see it from both lenses now. So anxious to hear what it looks like through your lens over the last 3 years.
Well, it's been a learning experience, just trying to see exactly what it's about to be a BA member, and participation is the most important thing. Participation and helping people understand what it is that you do, what it is that you're looking to achieve, and what it is that you can do to contribute and make others achieve their goals. But you mentioned something in there very interesting, and what I found that is very appealing inside of Board of Advisors is the collaboration and the collegiality. Give us a story, because you've been here for 10 years. The 10 years has been around. Give us a story of one of the collaborations that you had with a BA member.
Oh, wow. One, not 50. So
I don't know. The producer here will throw things at me if I let you do two. Right. So it's only one today. Yeah.
So I'm going to do two quick ones. I can't leave one out and not the other one. But so two of the major ones that were really changing for my business career the last 10 years is with RJ Polano, who is one of the founding members as well, and just a wonderful human being. He's become one of my best friends in the world, and he helped me many times, whether it was raising capital or advice or encouragement, and just being a great friend and we've done great. And then on a kind of a far different side, Stan Padgett, who's been here since the beginning, is an unbelievable lawyer. And I found myself with a bad partner in a hostile takeover. They were taking a hostile takeover attempt with me, and I hired Stan. And their hostile takeover turned out to be a disaster for them because I ended up taking most of their equity back after they were trying to take mine. So it was a scorched earth deal, lots of money involved, and so those two guys, I got to go to those two, and then I could go 30 deep at least. So
I had a feeling just from the group is just terrific. I'd love to quote. Would you like to say that you're trying to build an organization where you don't need the vendors that you have today because they're all sitting in that room with us together, and they are A++, vendors. To go along with your two experiences that you had, how did you start the interaction with them?
Told Mike Calhoun what I was looking for, and he makes it happen, and he still does it today with 15 times that many, and he makes those personal connections. He's just a fierce connector, and he will follow up, and he'll make sure it's progressing, and that's his, that's really his superpower, and he made sure I got to the right people at the right times, and they gave me the right attention that I needed because they're both very big issues. And
you already know this, but I just want to tell folks that that's how we met as BA members. Mike, without asking you or soliciting, just said, I need you to contact Jimmy Ralph. There's something he may need some help with regarding mergers and advisory services, which is what Performance Advisory Group does.
Right.
And we've become colleagues and friends from that. So that's the hidden benefit, which is why you bought off on being, that's why you got the boss hat on. That's why you bought off on being the boss for this organization. So
yeah, and I remember that now that Mike introduced us just cold. I didn't tell him I needed help, but he said, "Hey, I see where you're going. I see what you're doing. You need to talk to Hugo." And I missed that chapter, but that's exactly how that happened without instigating Mike. But he knew enough about my business and about where I was heading to say, "Hey, talk to you guys." So.
Fantastic. It sounds like those two relationships and collegial collaborations basically solved the problems that you had. I don't think there's anything different that you would have done for those two to be even better. Correct?
No, they were giant at the time, and and I think that's the way this business works. We've got a bunch of members that do a lot of business together and with their networks. And do it constantly and all the time and for years. I mean, those and I've done some of that with members too. Those were just the iconic two members that were huge deals. I mean, if that's all I ever got out of Board of Advisors for 10 years, that was plenty. It was 2 times as much as I needed. So, and then there's far more than that. But those two guys, that's when you were trying to get me to 1. I got you to 2.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Again, I'm a producer. I don't want him to throw things at me, so that's all right.
That's right. We got hats on.
That's a little bit of a protection. So, it sounds basically like the script of what, why you joined, why now you brought in your team to help Mike to expand this out a little bit. Tell us just a little bit about that. Like, what's next, as you see, for Board of Advisors?
Yeah, what's next is Mike built an incredible organization here on his back. I mean, he just carried it as many hours as he could stay awake for 9 years, and I watched that, and all the while when I watched his work ethic and his ability to connect and communicate and motivate people, I said, man, it'd be cool to be his partner someday. And so, that's just filed back there somewhere. And then when I sold my last company, I told Chris and Kevin, hey, we're done. It was actually a really cool transaction because we pretty much, other than Chris having to clean some stuff up, we didn't have anything to do there because they were in our business and they wanted to do it their way, and that was fine. So, I decided I wasn't going to do anything for about a year. Told the guys, hey, take a year. We'll take our time. We'll find the right opportunity, and just let's enjoy it. And that lasted about 8 weeks because for those previous 7 weeks, Mike and I sat on my boathouse and talked about board of advisors and the business and the challenges, and really got deep into it, which I think we were both doing like we'd done for years, just talking to each other and helping each other with our businesses. And it got more and more, and all of a sudden the 2-hour meetings, or the 1-hour meetings, were 2-hour meetings, the 2-hour meetings were 4-hour meetings, and at the end they were 8 or 10-hour meetings. And it just seemed obvious at that time. So I became Mike's partner. We trusted each other. We respect our specific capabilities, and of course then with the rest of the team, we force multiplied the C-suite by 4. Right, where there was one guy doing all this stuff, 6 months ago, and it's nearly an impossible endeavor. And then all of a sudden there's 4, and everybody's got their lanes, everybody's got their expertises, and it's been like a wild ride for 6 months, which it always is in these kinds of things. But we're seeing some great progress, and I think the members are seeing some great progress to really take us to the next level. And the more our mission is obviously to grow, because when we grow, that helps our existing members. It brings more value. There's more people to network with, more relationships. But also it allows us to be really selective in the people that we're bringing in, not only about their particular situation, but also how do they fit in the group, and to do it that way. So we're going to have controlled growth. And we're doing a lot of local events or regional events. We did about 14 or 15 X events in major cities this year. And in 26, we're thinking that'll be somewhere in the 40 to 50 range around the country. So those are just one-day events where people can either keep it at those one-day events where they're just networking more or less locally or regionally, or they then step up into our national events that we have here every quarter. So.
Right. Again, very, very exciting. You shared that with me before, and I'm glad that we were able to share it with other folks. That is just terrific. And because, collegiality and collaboration, and it is Hugo and the boss ask questions to Hugo.
I'm going to go right back at you.
Okay.
I think those were terrific. I mean, what would you say in the shorter time that you've been here, your collaborations have been, and who with? And
well, since you got 2, I'm going to get 2 as well. One's generic and one's specific. The generic, I'll leave the generic for last. The specific is ongoing. Marja Simon, working with her on generating content, books specifically. One of the things that has come out of interacting with the Board of Advisors members is my company, my team, we need to generate content, to steal the terms from the marketing gurus that who I'm talking about. There's too many to name. Authority marketing, very, very important that we do that. And also using authority marketing and to present knowledge, to answer questions that our clients, give them the questions first, because they don't even know. And that's something in mergers and acquisitions in the field that we deal with is an incredible need. So I'm looking forward to working with Marja and putting together a couple of books in the future. I can't really tell you what it's going to be, because it's going to be a 2026 thing. Very, very excited. And I would not have met her if it wasn't through Board of Advisors. And it wasn't through a Michael connection. It was by participating in the events that you have. Very, very important. So that's number 1. Number 2, from a collaborative aspect, is, as you know, I show up for every Wednesday call, whether the topic has nothing to do with me, with our business, or anything that I'm interested in. Because what's happened is, through folks, I'll start naming names, through AJ, through Rhonda, and I can go on and on, through Mike Weiss, C-Rock, all those folks gave me pause as to, okay, being invisible is not good for your business, and discreet. Under the radar, if you want to do that, then it's authority marketing. And here are the things that you can do. So we're making big changes for 2026 in our business as far as services is concerned. We are going to actually add a service, which is exit planning, starting at the end of the first quarter of 2026. This would not have happened if it wasn't for those Wednesday calls. No way.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
That's terrific. Yeah, they've been a real hit this year. You probably noticed it's something we just added about 6 months ago, and they, you watch the population that's on those weekly event shows are really, really great. So it's great to see that. And thank you for. And I've heard you say that you the first year maybe you were trying to figure out your way through, which we're working on tools to make that easier all the time. But you've found your way, and you said, I got to be everywhere all the time in front of these people, and it's about the only people I need to be in front of. And you've heard me say that to our members a number of times, that everything you need is in this room. So you show up all the time. We're happy to see you once or twice a week. So.
Well, you weren't kidding. Everything you need is. And then as I meet new members, I tell them that. I did that this morning with Dr. Com. And we had a happenstance breakfast because I was walking in and he was sitting down and he said, I wanted to talk to you after I met you yesterday. And here you are. Okay, let's talk. And he told me the two things he was looking for. And I went, boy, are you in the right place? Mm-hmm. And I already made an introduction today.
Great. That's great. That's the way it's supposed to work. Now, you do. What are your 2 or 3 main services that you provide?
First, mergers and acquisitions advisory. We focus on businesses from about $8 million in revenue all the way up to about $500 million. They are typically private. Well, they are privately held. We do not deal in the public markets. And founder-run companies with very small number of investors. Agnostic as far as industry, we focus on the transaction and we focus on cultural fit. We have a buyer's network of hundreds of institutional funds that are out there, and we make sure that we fit the buyer with the needs of the seller. And the needs of the seller, there's several. There's obviously how much money am I going to make fit? But we look at it as a longer term. We don't look at it that transfer of funds that happens on the first, on the day the transaction closes. We look at, is there a way that you can roll equity and use other people's money to increase that value of that asset? The second thing is, if there's a cultural fit, then everybody wins. And what I mean by cultural fit, I don't mean, group hug, soft and squishy. I mean, what makes the Kansas City Chiefs, sorry anybody doesn't like them, but what makes the Kansas City Chiefs, champions over the last 5 years? What makes the United States Army as successful as it is? It's culture. It's a winning culture. So what made you a winning culture? What did you do? Let's make that as part of the selling package, because it adds value, number one, but it also gives sustainability, which is what that buyer is looking for in that particular company.
And your perfect client is you'd prefer. Now, I know when we did some stuff and you guys jumped right in and did what we asked you, I think we said, hey, anytime in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So I'm a non-perfect client, but your perfect client, you'd like to get well ahead of the actual event, the actual exit event, so that you can mitigate taxes and do planning with the money, as you say, and the residual value, I guess, of that initial sale.
Which is exactly why we added the exit. We're going to be adding the exit planning services. It allows us to really start up to 3 to 4 years before you need us, before an acquisition, before a merger, before an exit. Because if you start early enough, then you're going to maximize your value that you're going to get in the long term.
Right. It's not only, having been through a few of these things, it's not only, it's not only your proceeds that come out become 50 or 70% of those proceeds, right, going down if the tax planning isn't done right, and the structure and organizing the financial statements so they're understandable and relatable, and it's not just that, but then the upside goes the other way. So you might end up with 130 or 40% instead of 60 or 70%. That's a huge swing.
It's a very, very large swing. And let's face it. I mean, this is what makes it so exciting for us to work together. Our team is, you get up in the morning and you help folks, get to the end and realize the American dream. That blood, sweat, and tears of decades of work. Oh yeah, about that. Of decades of blood, sweat, and tears. And you get to cash out on it. And it's been an honor, a privilege, and a blessing to work with folks in all industries and all different kinds of backgrounds, men, women, immigrants, everybody across the spectrum. And it's a blessing to be able to wake up, and that's what I do.
That's awesome. Well, you're a superhuman being. We're thrilled to have you as a member, and a very capable member. And I'm thrilled to have you as a neighbor at home, except you're never there. I'd probably, if I went to Kentucky, I'd see you more than I do when you live 2 miles away. But I'll look forward to our next breakfast back in St. Pete.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, my friend,
Boss,
it's been a pleasure, Hugo.
yes. Hugo and the boss, thank you very much. Have a good night.